I want to invite all of our speakers up here. We'll cut our Q&A a little bit short. I know everyone's probably a little bit tired. But come on up, come on. In the meantime, I want to say two things. I want to, up here. I want to say how much I appreciate our sponsors, actually. This is not free, as you know. Being here is not free. But we are sponsored by Tercera, which is a company that makes some of the medication, and Pam, who's also on our board, is our representative. So thank you very much for supporting all this.
First and foremost, guys, I'm a nurse. Second and foremost, I was Eric's nurse for many years. So outside of pharma, I'm a nurse. And all of you are my patients. So there.
Sweet. Yes, indeed, absolutely. There's truth to that. And I also want to thank ITM. We don't have any representatives here, but ITM is also getting into our world. So their support and everything that Nicole has done for us means a great deal to me and to all of us. And then I think one thing that Carolyn forgot to mention, which she tells me frequently, is that despite Jimmy had some good days and bad days, they were all good because he got to see his boys grow up. He got to watch them graduate from college. So even those days he didn't feel well, he knew that he could be there and get to see that, and that was very important. So she wants you to know that you can keep your hopes high. I unfortunately also know the terrible thing of losing people when their kids grow up. Hurts me the most. So it's really important for you to know that we're fighting hard and working hard for all of you. So, I'm sorry, what, Heather? Oh, I forgot, excuse me, I forgot it. Our sponsors too are Exercise6. They're also a new pharma company with a new medicine in our world. And who was the last one? Novartis. Oh, Novartis. Oh, who can forget about Novartis? Novartis has also been a wonderful supporter, and they're the ones that make the Lutathera and PRT. And who? Oh, Bristol. Wow. Who knew the family was so great and wonderful? Who knew this place was so expensive to rent out? They are all wonderful, and they're a business, yes, but you know what? They really believe in you, and they want you to know that they support you as well, and they support you through these activities. So I thank all of them. Okay, so what I would like to do now is, this is the microphone you guys can share, but now is a little bit of Q&A, and I know you heard me say, just do it today. Just do anything, right? So my kids tell me I don't have a six-pack, I have a one-pack. All right, so today I'm going to start to do all those exercises that everyone has talked about. But I'd like to just spend a few minutes and open up the session to our speakers. We're very blessed to have such talented and smart people. And are there any questions? Eric, go ahead. Oh, Eric, there's a microphone that Keith has too, just because the people can't hear you.
Sure. Is it on? Oh, okay. I just wondered thoughts on flexibility as part of exercise. And the older I've gotten, I've found that there's almost a direct correlation between how flexible I am and how strong I can maintain. And obviously there's a lot of safety that goes along with stretching, but I wondered your thoughts on that. Whether it's yoga or just stretching.
Just anecdotally and really quickly, if you want to strengthen, you must lengthen. So I am not the greatest at making sure that I'm getting adequate stretching in.
I think guys are bad at it.
Yeah, I get into the gym and immediately go to the rack and look at the rack and say, I need to put 100 pounds on that, and I'll do a little bit of dynamic stretching. And I found that I get more value out of dynamic stretching, so stretching that moves the muscle through the entire range of motion to the point that it's a little bit uncomfortable at both ends. You're not trying to, hurt yourself, but you are trying to move it so that you get a feeling of stretch when you're, adducting, whatever the body system is. So, for example, the squat. My primary stretch will be it'll be a dynamic leg stretch where I will put my hand to balance on some kind of surface at about chest height, and I will swing my leg forward and all the way back, and I will open up my toes and externally rotate my leg, so that, you know, I'm getting a good stretch on my hamstrings and glutes here. I'm getting good stretch on my quad and back here. Yeah, that's what I would do for that. Inger?
Stretching.
Yes, and I think there's a couple different ways you can stretch. So the dynamic stretching and the static stretching. So it depends if you want to gain length, you want to hold it a little longer, but you want to be able to comfortably hold it. I think it's important to have aerobic activities, so the cardio, the strength activity, stretching, and balance. I think it's important to have all of those in you don't have to do them every single day, but to have a component of that. And also vary up what you're doing can help with that as well. There's a lot of ways to stretch. I am not very flexible, and yoga is torturous for me. So yoga is not a choice for me. But, you know, you can find something you do enjoy. And I do think that is helpful. Thank you for bringing that up.
I just want to add, it can be incredibly simple, just like all of this, right? So, for example, we're sitting down a lot, our knees are bent. Think about putting a dining chair in front of you. Put out that leg, stretch forward a little bit. That's a stretch for your hamstring. So just simple things. And I have a lot of patients tell me, yeah, I stretch. And then I ask them, but how long are you holding that static stretch for? Oh, I just do this and this and this. And we have to hold it for, you know, I would say at least 15 seconds, 20 seconds at a time if we're going to do one of those static stretches.
To increase your length, yes.
Yeah, I echo everything that was been said. Great point, Eric. And, you know, one of my slides suggested 10 minutes of mobility per day. It's hard to think about, but if you can build it into your routine, it's excellent. To Dr. Konig's point, I work with the veterans at the VA as well 1 day a week. And one thing that's big there is called chair yoga. You can find it on the interwebs. And a couple of other resources if you really want to get sophisticated with this. MobiWOD, MOBIWOD. There's some very sadistic stuff on there, so just be careful because it can get really intense. And Supple Leopard is another great resource out there that really describes kind of how to get into this. A couple of tools that you can have around your house that can really help with soft tissue mobilization are foam rollers, Walmart, $10. If you want to get more intense, PVC roller, or even a hard lacrosse ball, a hard rubberized lacrosse ball. If you have an achy area and you want to try to get it improved, you can kind of mobilize with those things. So a few tricks that I utilize.
Great question.
Sorry, I just wanted to add one more piece to that. Tapping your body before you move it, you're covered with fascia, so just going through and tapping your leg before you stretch it can actually improve your flexibility as well. It helps reconnect that limb, especially if you have neuropathy, to your brain. Helps with balance, so it's a nice way to kind of wake up. It's, again, something simple you can do.
Wow, simple. It's simple. I mean, anyone can do this. I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Mike.
So all of this is great information. And, you know, always I think of how do we eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? But all of us are dissimilarly situated in this room. I'm 72 years old. I've got a hernia. You know, I got part of my organs missing, all that. Should I go to a doctor first to start this, or a healthcare professional, not necessarily a physician, healthcare professional to start this, because it might be different totally for me than for Gary. And I'm type A. Paul tells me to go do it. I'm going to go hit the gym, Will, and I'm going to hurt myself. So, and that's what I've done in the past. I've hurt myself. So how do you moderate this? I mean, I'm asking you experts this, so that for those of us who don't know but will take the hill when you say charge, you tell us to get on the house, we look for a ladder. So how do we do it?
Listen to your wife.
Yes, number one.
Okay, all right, full disclosure, Thursday was 49 years of wedding.
Oh,
anniversary.
Congrats.
So I've done that. So anyway, I welcome your input.
yeah. I think what Mike is asking, what is step one? What is step one? I mean, yes, we can all, pat our legs, we can stretch it. That's easy. I got that portion. But what really is step one to get here?
Okay, yeah. No, I do think in the cancer world we need to have guidance. depending on the treatments that we have, there are going to be some limitations. You alluded to it earlier. If you have surgery, your surgeon might want some restrictions, some limitations for X amount of time after a surgery. If you have chemotherapy, you might develop a neuropathy. Balance might be difficult. You might have falls or be at risk for that. So going into this should not be blind. You should be evaluated. Again, it does not have to be with a physician. It can be with someone who's trained in this. The caveat being, where do you find that person, right? So I'll just speak quickly on some resources, at least here in Colorado. So nationwide, the YMCA has the Live Strong program. It's a 12-week exercise program for patients with cancer. Not all YMCAs have this, but if you go on Live Strong YMCA, you put your zip code, it'll be the closest ones to you. Local to Colorado, for folks that live near or in Greeley, UNC has a wonderful cancer rehab exercise program run by the university, again, just for patients with cancer. The University of Anschutz has Be Fit, Be Well, which is a 3-month exercise program for patients with cancer. This goes outside of, again, skilled therapy. I bring this up as well because in the back of my mind always is that insurance, for the most part, will give us X amount of skilled therapy sessions per year. And sometimes we don't necessarily want to max out on that at the beginning of the year. And so we want to find resources that are adequate for us. So I would agree a first step would be evaluated to determine what potential limitations we may have that are cancer related, but also not cancer related. If you have a herniated disc, for example, you might not want to do X, Y, or Z exercise. So being evaluated first, I think, is the best first step.
And I would say that it's helpful to, if you're not a big exerciser, like, okay, you look at us and, okay, I've had 40 years where movement is my livelihood, my life. So I'm passionate about it. You may not share that passion. There is nothing wrong with that. But if it isn't, I think it's helpful if you really want to change your lifestyle is to make sure that it isn't associated with hurting yourself or feeling really sore or exhausted. So I think just separating out activity from the potential bad. So just starting out with maybe, especially if you're a type A, a little bit less than you think you can do, just so you don't associate it with soreness or hurting yourself too.
I had hernia surgeries about 2 years ago, and this was like right in the middle of most of the heaviest part of my fitness journey at the time, and I had to come to grips because I was so gung-ho about being in the gym at the time that I would need to take a little bit of a step back. So I lowered everything that I did, and I went slow, and I made sure that the 3 months that I had to take off were not going to, that the 3 months that I had to take off, I was going to slowly learn to lift again afterwards. And it took some time and it was frustrating, but that's a mental game, and that's, understanding that your body has limitations right now. It is a marathon. You will get to, hopefully, your goals over time, but it's going to be something that you need to take in little bites, like you said earlier.
Mike, I don't know if this is still on, but the weekend warrior aspect of it, that's great for job security for us. We really appreciate those types of people. In all seriousness, I put a lot of reference data in the slides for a reason. It wasn't a good cop, bad cop presentation intentionally. It just turned out that way a little bit. But I think that RPE slide is very important, and that's the relative perceived exertion for you. And so if you look at that and you think about, okay, this is where we're going to start, you coordinate that with a program, we automatically, recommend, getting clearance from your provider and so on and so forth. Many of us have had midline incisions. What does that mean? What are the protocols there, et cetera, and how do we work around, the nuances of our disease? That's something you have to kind of figure out with your individual provider. But if you incorporate one of these national programs, these FIT programs that Franchesca described, the YMCA programs, the water aerobic programs, whatever it may be, if you use that as your scale, you're kind of individualizing it to yourself. You may find that after 2 weeks to 2 months of activity, as Will alluded to, your RPE may begin to really improve upon itself, and that's the goal. So it's a great question, and it's a difficult answer, and there's not an easy answer, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of room to build on.
I would argue too that I think people can find a lot of joy in movement. I think there's a lot of joy in movement. I'm not a dancer by any means, but Amy, for example, was a dancer, and she's now healthy and strong because she finds she's recaptured that joy in her movement.
So, yeah, my perspective is a little different. I've always been an exerciser. I was a professional dancer in my 20s, 30s, and then stay-at-home mom, and I'm back now. But so they found my tumor in 2021 on my pancreas, and there was it was also a very spiritual moment for me when we've had so much great information, but I think it's really important to talk about the spiritual part of being in your body. And there was a moment where it wasn't that I had a shift where the cancer was in me, the cancer had me, but I was like, this is my body. And the cancer, it's just a visitor. So it became this shift. It was a spiritual shift, really, that my favorite way to fight back was through exercise. So I was like, I'm going to get as strong as I can. I'm going to get as flexible as I can. I'm going to work on my wind. This is the fight of my life. And it was, how strong can I get to that surgery date? Because it was not taking me down. So I look at it as, and now that how to stay strong and be in my body in the way that I want to be. And then everything else, is ups and downs. So there you go.
Thank you. So we have a couple of things from the internet I want to ask. So first of all, not a question, observation. Online watcher loves Dr. Jett's shirt, by the way. Yep. So let's get that comment out there. It was only one of 10,000, but it's fine. It was just sometimes you only need one. A trainer of an online guest says that pickleball is similar to doubles tennis. Okay, so it's more active than piano, but less active than basketball. Yeah, that's right, exactly. And then, so actually, this is a question for the two docs probably. Does health insurance generally reimburse for physiatry consultation?
Yes, absolutely. That's a well-covered service. There's only 10,000 of us in the country, and just people don't know about us because our specialty has been so diverse and fractionated. But we're biased, but I don't want to speak for Franchesca, but I think it's the best thing out there, next to surgical oncology and Dr. Lou, obviously. I mean, notwithstanding, but I'll let Franchesca speak to that.
Yeah, I actually get this question a ton, and just like you see your surgical oncologist, radiation oncologist, medical oncologist, we're all covered as well. Again, the caveat with skilled therapy is that depending on your insurance plan, you're going to get X amount of PT, OT, whatever the case may be per year, and it's just something to always keep in mind.
Well, that's really interesting because I know personally I have not referred any of you to physiatry. So that is my mistake. Yeah, exactly, right. I mean, I didn't know Dr. Konig was here. Yeah, exactly, right. And you know what? That will change today. That will change today. So I am going to do that. And obviously, as I continue to build out my CEAS program within my own clinic, my pledge to all my patients, and hopefully to anyone out there who's watching, is that I will do these things and I will help assist you. And so to Mike's question, how do you know? Well, you know what? I'm going to send it to the expert. So when Franchesca says, okay, well, maybe you got to get your hernia fixed too. Maybe Will and I have to fix your hernia first. Then we can talk and we can figure things out. And so that will be my... Kelly has a question. Whoever has the microphone. No, you need the microphone because they won't be able to hear you in the internet.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kelly.
Relating to
Oh, wait,
exercise.
if I may say something. One thing, just before, I'm sorry, Kelly, to interrupt you, but I just want to set her up for a second. She's a person who also, as part of spirits and spirituality, also uses music as something that's very, very important to her, right? She's wearing that Fish shirt right now. So if you guys don't know, Fish is a jam band. Yeah. Face it that way, yeah. And she once told me when she was at and I'm going to share this, if you don't mind, Kelly, when she was once at her kind of lowest in her health and how she was feeling kind of spiritually, she would get through it by using music. And so music as part of her spirits, music as part of her thing. I mean, it's a big part of me as well, too. So I actually took a video of her saying how much the music meant to her, and I sent it to the lead singer of Fish. Yeah, so he knows that she exists. Yeah.
It meant the absolute world to me. I've been following Fish since 1995, so little side note. Thank you, Dr. Lou. I was curious. I've actually lost 100 pounds since I met Dr. Lou, and I was diagnosed in, I think it was 2021. And I know that a lot of it is nutrition. I also have Crohn's disease. When I'm exercising, I'm curious on what I should be drinking electrolyte-wise, because some things aren't as great as others. Like, for instance, I know Gatorade has a lot of sugar in it, where others don't. And I'm just curious, what should I be drinking when I am exercising to keep up those electrolytes as much as possible?
From a little bit of a medical perspective, right? The sugar is not so great, right? I think Gatorade is probably produced for the football players. And the reason they had to put so much sugar in is because they have to cover the salts, I think, is really what the issue is. In fact, the nutritionists actually may want to say something about this. But I think there are a whole bunch of products out there right now which actually really are quite good, and like even the Pedialytes might be a little bit more effective. But do you guys want to say something about
yeah, sure. There are some oral rehydration solutions that the World Health Organization has recipes for, so you can always Google that, like oral rehydration solution, and there's different recipes. It's kind of like watered down Gatorade usually, or watered down juice, just to make the ratio a little bit better. Drip Drop is one brand that I know people, I think you just add it to water, and you can use that for electrolytes. But typically, unless you're doing like a really heavy exercise where you're sweating a lot, just like plain water and just focusing on water throughout the day is going to be the most important.
And I think, and a little bit like Leanne said, food is the base medicine. Food is the best way. So if you're eating good foods while you exercise, I think that's also very helpful too. And most of the people here are probably not going to work out as hard as Will is going to work out. So just making sure you listen to your body and just keeping up with it would be good. Any other comments? Good.
Eric, what was the name of the? There's something on the market that's specifically designed for this for neuroendocrine patients.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so what Paul is referring to is there is a product that you can buy called. No. Juven is the healing one. It's the it begins with an E. Enterade. That's what it is. Sorry, thank you. So Enterade is a commercial product. It's not cheap. Each bottle is about like $3 or $4, but it is actually very, very specially and clinically researched to provide the right amino acids and the right sugars and the right things to help with rehydration. It actually helps the gut heal. It's actually really quite impressive. And so I will give it to people who are having just like difficulties with diarrhea because it helps to balance and helps to heal their gut. So it's called Enterade. So it's like Gatorade but with an enter, because enter means belly. It means intestines is what it means. Yeah, Enterade. It's non-prescription, but it's not like you can't just walk into CVS and get it. So you have to order it. But you can get it on the internet with no problem. It is not prescription. It's not a prescription-based product, yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to refer to. There are also coupons and so forth online and that sort of thing, but it's specifically designed for neuroendocrine patients. And just a caveat, to the Drip Drop, I use a product called LMNT, same type of thing, because the product, so it's the products with Gatorade and everything else that you get, they have the large solute load, and actually most of our salt in our country has sugar in it anyway. And so you don't think about that, but this is more purified. It has a small amount of sweetener. I prefer the watermelon or the lemon lime. I put it in about 32 ounces of water, start my day. I do that every day. It actually allows me to generate the ability to hydrate, because drinking water all day, it gets a little boring, but I feel full, and this allows me to kind of have a thirst. So it does a lot of different things. The science behind it is a little bit unorthodox, if you will, to conventional medicine, in that The design behind these tools is that we in the American diet actually receive about half of our micronutrients that we need. So it's a little bit in face of convention, and I'm not here to argue or provide medical advice. I'm just saying this has worked for me, and I don't know, Dr. Liu and I have talked about this, if it's the lanreotide or what that makes me feel dehydrated, but I know if I get behind on my hydration, I am toast the rest of the day, man, toast, right? And so if you can do nothing more than try to get the right sleep, right, Seth, and keep your hydration up, you're well ahead of the game, again, to prepare for fighting against this thing, the fight in the ring, stay ready, to get ready about my you just got to do what you got to try to get ahead. So Mike, that's your starting point, right? Prepare yourself for it, and then you kind of take those next steps, and they're baby steps, and I love the elephant analogy, so very good stuff.
And I just want to add one thing regarding LMNT, which I'm a huge fan of, but there is magnesium in it, so it does cause diarrhea.
And so that's not something I'm particularly prone to. I actually, like, again, just in full disclosure, I may not have as many GI issues as many of you, and we're all different with that, and that's a great point, because if you think about the milk of magnesium and the different products that are out there, that is one of the designated. But magnesium also does other things for your body, like controls your cell membranes from firing so frequently. It's useful in pain. It's useful in headaches. It's very useful in stuff, if I may. I take a magnesium supplement at night. So with cramps, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's a membrane stabilizer. It's going to calm all that down. And it can also help with anxiety. There's a lot of things out there. So yes, anything else out in the medical world, over the counter, there are pros and cons. It's a double-edged sword. Just be educated, be aware. Great stuff. Thanks, Pam.
Great conversation. Any more? Oh. Wait, Sherry, hold on. You need the microphone because the internet people won't be able to hear you.
Here you go.
So with my disease process, I don't have a large intestine. So with the magnesium, I do an Epsom salt foot soak at least 3 times a week, and I get it in that way, and it doesn't cause me to have all those GI disturbances. And then a lot of the stuff that I take is sublingual too, so that I kind of avoid that whole process. So for people that have had GI surgeries, if you find other routes of getting the medication in you, it really does stabilize you a lot better. And then, just real quick, I was thinking about when you were talking about balance. When I had recurring pituitary tumor and had to go to balance training and PT and OT, the first thing, step 1, that they taught me was for balance, you look at these lines that are up and down in your environment when you're feeling off center, and you focus on those. And it really does neurologically kind of bring you back to center. So that would be step 1. And then there's other parts of that you progress through to get your balance back, but that was number 1. First thing, you look for those horizontal lines so that you're not off balance.
I mean, these are the things we learn as a community. It's fantastic. Any other questions in the room? Well, that's perfect. We are doing well. I'm going to ask one more time. Any more questions? Great.